Matt Scratch here, and I just wanted to introduce you to the Hot Rod Lincoln, as I call it. This is my 1994 Lincoln Town Car. It was originally powered by a 4.6 liter modular V8, but that engine failed, so I have replaced it with a 5.8 liter, or as I prefer to say, a 351 Windsor engine. It was a fuel-injected engine from a van, actually, from an '89 Ford van that I've put in here, but I will be adding a Eldbrock 4-barrel intake and a 600 CFM carburetor with 4-barrel with vacuum secondaries, and that's about the extent of fanciness on it. It's basically a budget project. It's not done yet, as you can see. It's been collecting dust for about a year at this point, and I plan to jump back on it this winter and finish it on the channel and do a bunch of videos on it, so stay tuned for that. But I just wanted to go over what I've done so far, sort of get my viewers up to date on it, and it shows up in a lot of the background of the videos, and it's something I'm pretty proud of, even though it's not a fast car particularly. It won't be, because this engine's probably still under 300 horsepower realistically, although it should be up there on the torque number, but it's not going to be a rocket ship, that's for sure. I'm just making a daily driver here, and I am using some, it's going to have headers on it and different things like that, but more the reason I call it a hot rod is just because of all the modifications I've done, and because of the fact that I kind of built leftover scrap parts I had laying around the shop here. I haven't really invested much money. I think I have about $700 total into this build, and I worked a lot with the 4.6 parts. As you can see, I used the 4.6 radiator, so I had to make these hard lines to go across. I guess I didn't have to. I could have gone with universal hose or something, but I don't really like the look of that, so this is the choices I made, and it's how I want it. So, and that's what a hot rod is. It's taking a bunch of parts that you like and creating something out of it that's unique and your own, basically. So that's why I call it my Hot Rod Lincoln. So I had to modify the power steering pump to get it down in there. See, it's quite close to the steering box, but I built this bracket on top to support it here, because I cut away a lot of the supporting structure. It used to wrap right up around the pump here, but that aluminum housing was contacting the steering box, so I cleared that away, and that kind of left me room to route my rad line down low here like I like, and I've got the idler pulley here where the air conditioning would have went on a 5.8 liter application, but that's one of the cool things I feel that I've done here, is I've stuck with the location for the 4.6 liter AC compressor right here, and how I've done that is I've left the system charged through the whole build, and I just zip tied that compressor over to the frame rail when I removed the old 4.6 liter engine, and then I built a bracket to mount it in here so that I wouldn't have to do new lines and stuff to get it over on the, you know, to use factory brackets, because they didn't make factory brackets to put it over in this location. On my 90 town car, I took the air conditioning off, but when it had it, it actually had it up here where the alternator is, and that's also a Windsor engine, because that's a 5 liter in my 1990. That's a factory 5 liter, so that's the closest location you could get from the factory, and these lines just they wouldn't have worked. You can see they're already, I had to move them up a bit as it was, and they're like, I had to cut this little hole in the hood insulator here for clearance on that line, but it does clear, it does not contact the hood skin, so that's the main thing. And then down on the bottom, I'm not sure you're going to be able to see that. Maybe I can get up underneath for a minute here. There's another hard line. I'm still working on the bracket here for it. You can see that's the beginnings of the mounting bracket, but made a hard line to go across here. And this uses factory hoses. This is a Dodge rad hose on the lower one, and I think the upper one is also Dodge, off a Dodge van. And then I got the original Ford hose for that piece over there. And then the cool thing is I stuck with the 4.6 reservoir, and see if I can get that. So this hard line actually has a bung leading off the back side of it. Hopefully you can see that there, and a hose running up to the reservoir for the 4.6 liter. So I thought that was kind of cool. And then just my clearances on everything. You can see I got it really hugging the cross member there. I've got it sitting on the van mounts, the truck, 2 stud truck mounts, and I had to modify the cross member quite a bit to get that like that, but I actually was able to do all the modifications without mocking up the engine. I had a jig that I made, and I was able to use the jig for the mock-up. Basically I had a jig that I welded between the 2 mounts, and I sat it on the cross member and made the cross member fit it like it held the mounts in the same location they sit on the engine. I welded it up while the mounts are still bolted to the block. Then I unbolted them from the block and sat the whole jig as a unit on the cross member, made it fit in there, and then I measured off of it everywhere to confirm that the engine would fit. So I welded everything up solid, painted it and everything, and then I dropped the engine in, and everything fit. So I was happy about that. See if we can got a lot of wires in the way, but same thing over here. I would like to get new valve covers because these were really rusty, and I cleaned them up the best I could, but they're too rusty. The paint's not going to stay on there, so may end up getting some new ones for it, even though it is a budget project and I was trying not to buy anything unnecessary. And then my firewall clearance, I was trying to get it back as far as I could for good balance, but also leave enough room back here that I could access things, and I think I accomplished that pretty good. It's a tighter fit than you'd think, and before I'm done here, I would like to build a custom air box, and it's gonna sit in this area here. So I'm gonna have like a carburetor hat. I'm not gonna buy one, but I'm gonna have a carburetor hat, they call it, that I'm gonna build. Have the tube come down here and have the air box here, because really I don't have enough room for a proper air cleaner up on top of the carb. With the hood clearance that I have, I would have to add a hood scoop of some sort, which I'm strongly against because this is a sleeper project. Like I say, it's not going to be that fast, but it will be quite a bit faster than what the car would have been originally. I think these cars do 0 to 60 in about 9 seconds flat with the 4.6 liter, and I'm gonna guess that it's gonna do 0 to 60 in about high 7-second range, like 7.8, 7.9 seconds. That would be my best guess. It's got 308 gearing, and I do have a Posi-Trac rear end in it with it's got carbon fiber clutch packs and the Posi center that I put in it, so that hooks up really good on the back. Then these are gauges out of the 89 Ford van, and I'm going to build a framework to mount them into the dash here. I plan on getting a older steering wheel too, off of an 80s, a late 80s, so that I don't have an airbag, because I'm not going to have an airbag system when I'm done here. So yeah, the interior sort of sits there. I just kind of pulled that apart and made sure everything was going to fit how I planned, and the steering column still works for me and all that, so I can make that shifter work with my transmission, which, by the way, the transmission is another bit of a oddball thing is it's a C6. It's not an AOD. The C6 is what was in the van, so I had to modify that cross member a little bit. It's probably going to be hard to see, but I had to notch the mounting to it a little bit, and then I also had to drop the mounting plate down a little bit to get the right level, but the C6 fits in there nicely. I did paint it with some nice Krylon stainless steel look paint. Looks really cool, but I haven't done the bogging side yet because I sort of painted it on the floor, and I gotta get under here and clean it up now and do the bogging side, and then the pan will be black or green or something like that to contrast it. So, but yeah, and this car is it's not a super clean car, but it's cleanish. It's in good shape. So I felt it was worth saving rather than scrapping it, and I didn't feel like putting another 4.6 liter in. I'm not the biggest fan of them, and it's hard to find a good low mile one in a wrecking yard around here. They're all miled out, so, and they're prone to the valve seals going, so they almost always use oil when they get older. So this is a good proven engine for me. I've had it in a 89 E250 van that I used for a work van for about 3 years, and it's never burnt a drop of oil. I ran 530 synthetic in it, and it's just a great running engine, starting any weather. Lots of power. See, I kind of did the tips of my fan blade up like an old fighter plane or something, just to be silly. I thought that looked really cool. I actually was thinking about putting an electric fan on here, but then again, that's money. Had a newer radiator when I got the car, so that's why I had incentive to use that radiator too. And I had all my accessories polished up here, and just a quick buff and that'll all come off and they'll shine again, but they've got a little light corrosion on them. I may clear coat them yet to prevent that from happening again, or I might just buff them up every now and then. But yeah, I'm pretty excited to get back working on this project, but I'll show you why I haven't got back on it yet. His shop's a bit of a mess. Aside from all the other things I'm working on, I have my Mumps PT Cruiser in here for paint, and it's in primer stage, and it's also been collecting dust for a while, so I would like to get that done for her before I finish my car. That's her dream car, so, and you'll see some videos on that. It's actually pretty cool. We're doing a Petizer body kit front end on that one, so that'll be all custom paint and everything. It's going to be black and red, so keep an eye out for that. And right now, tearing apart the Pulsar parts car, so you'll see an upcoming video on that pretty quick. And then over here, show you my collection of engines. The most important of which would be this one here. This is technically a 1991 302, but I built it for an 81 Mustang in 2007, and it's the only engine that I could say that I technically rebuilt. I had this engine torn down to the last nut and bolt, and it was a blown engine from an F-150, and I built it up into what it is. I had a machine shop do the boring and whatnot, so it's bored 30 over, so it's technically a 306 cubic inch Ford small block now, and it's got high compression pistons in it. I think it's 10.5 to 1. And it does just have truck heads on it, but it does have a race cam in it of sorts. Just a cheap Summit cam, but it works really good. And I had still have on there under the bags a 580 Holly, which is a factory piece from an 85 Mustang. And what else is significant about it? I had MSD 6A box on there and whatnot like that, but it made good power. I was running 15-second quarter miles, and well, I was running 15.6 in the 81 Mustang at 90 mile an hour. I never raced the 87 I had it in, but that had lower gearing and it really leaped in that car. And I didn't have a good transmission. I was running it through a low stall C5, low stall converter C5, so it didn't really wrap out and get into the power band until I got on it a bit. So yeah, I could have probably capable of 13-second quarter mile time in a Fox body Mustang. Anyways, it's probably around 300 horsepower, and it's got a lot of potential left in it. So that'll be something ways down the road, but I want to put it in an 88 Nissan hardbody, so stay tuned for that on the channel. And then this, just a spare PT Cruiser 2.4 liter. I pulled out a parts car. And this is another 302. I pulled out a 89 Ford van, so it's fully dressed as it came out of the van. It's been sitting there for years, but it's a nice running, good low mile engine, and I just keeping it around for a spare basically. Under that pile of blankets there's a built AOD transmission that's going to go behind my little 302 here when I put it in the Nissan, and that does have a high stall and everything, so that'll be fun. There's this high stall converter for it there. And then oh, I'll show you. This is when I say PT parts car, I still have part of that. I cut a PT right in half, and so I still have it all complete with the dash and everything. Bought the whole car for parts. My parents love PT Cruisers, and they actually have 3 of them, so it's really paid off to have a parts car, especially since my dad's is the same electric blue color as this parts car. So I was able to just directly take a door off of this to put on his, and that really paid off right there, just getting the door off it. And we also used the transmission in my mom's PT because it was an automatic. So that was good. What else could I show you? Not much right now, but shop's always kind of in a state of mess, and I'm not going to make any effort to clean it up for videos because that would be just fake. So